One of the great demands as a result of this pandemic that we've been living with and under for these last few months has not only been the demand for toilet paper, but there's also been another unforeseen and unexpected demand, and that is for flowers and vegetables. Why, all of the greenhouses in this area will tell you, if you visit with them at all, the incredible demand there has been this spring and summer for flowers and for vegetables. Now, for those of you who know me, know that in my spare time, in order that I might do some self-therapy in my own life, I have a tendency to go out to the local greenhouse and volunteer some of my time. And so, of course, the last couple of months in doing so, I've been amazed at the number of people, parishioners, that I've run into out there. And of course, there has indeed been a great demand for flowers and vegetables, particularly tomato plants. They become a hot commodity. Now, of course, there can be lots of studies, no doubt, will be done as to why is this the case? Why are so many people this year especially wanting flowers, and why are many so wanting vegetables? And of course, the vegetables we can figure out, people want to plant their own gardens so that they can have produce to feed themselves and their families. It makes complete sense. But what about flowers? Why the demand for flowers? Well, of course, there's all kinds of reasons. My guess is, since families realize that they're going to have to stay at home more than usual, you just want to be safe just in case you no longer see the beauty in the spouse and in the children. Maybe we can find beauty in the flowers. Maybe that's the reason. I have no idea. But nonetheless, they've been in great demand. And so as I visit with people, as I helped people out at the greenhouse pick out their flowers, of course, oftentimes they're interested in the colors. There's certain colors that they're looking for, but I always ask them the question, sun or shade? And then they have this puzzled look on their face. Well, why are you asking me that? And I said, well, because that's important. The flower is going to be planted in the sun, or are they going to be in the shade? Because some do better in one or the other. And so that's kind of a new revelation for many of them who are new to the flower endeavor. But there's one particular plant, well, there's several, but there's one particular plant recently that has become the star of the show. And the reason why it's the star of the show is because it can grow and it can develop and it can show beauty planted anywhere, whether it's the sun or the shade. And the plant that I speak of is the coleus, Coleus. Coleuses come in many varieties, many different colors, many different heights, and of course, they produce no flower. It's just the leaf, but because of their vibrant colors and why they're different heights and textures, they add beauty to any pot or to any garden. And they can grow in either sun or shade. Now, why am I giving you this lesson in gardening today and in flowers? Well, because you and I are invited to grow each and every day, whether we are finding ourselves in the sunny part of life or in the shady and or the difficult part of life. Growth must continue to happen. And the only way we grow is we have to be nourished. We have to eat, because without eating, no growth is even possible. So the church, why, more importantly, God, understands our need to grow. So what did he do? He gave us the gift of his Son. And he gave us this particular feast that we celebrate this weekend, the feast of the body and the blood of Christ. And he gave to us this feast because, of course, as Moses told the Israelites in today's first reading, we need to always remember the Lord our God. Remember, Moses says to the Israelites and to you and I. Remember who brought you out of slavery. Remember who led and guided you through the desert. Remember who gave you manna from the desert. Remember the Lord your God. And so Moses pleads with you and I. to never forget. And the way in which we do that is our ability then to come here to be fed by the gift of life, by the gift of Jesus Christ, by receiving his real presence of his body and his blood in the Eucharist that we're going to receive once again today. We do this so that we not only might remember, but that we might then grow. And we can grow, my friends, in the most difficult of times, which this pandemic has proven to us. We can grow when things are sunny and bright and absolutely spectacular. We can grow as long as we recognize that we all partake of the one loaf, as St. Paul reminds us in today's second reading. Well, what does that mean? It means, my friends, that we are the body of Christ. We are the real presence of Christ for one another. So even over those couple of months when we couldn't gather for public Mass and we weren't able to actually receive Christ in the Eucharist, in communion at this table, my friends, I would suggest to you and promise you and help you to understand that you were not without the real presence of Christ. Why were you not without the real presence of Christ? Because Jesus tells us in the Scriptures, wherever 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there am I in the midst of you. So my friends, as you were sequestered at home, as you were staying home with spouse and with children, with grandchildren, or whoever you might find yourself with during these months, you were for one another the real presence of Christ. You were that nourishment that gives life and hope and love to a world that oftentimes is dark and uncertain and in need of light and goodness. And you and I, why through it all continue to grow. Sun or shade, it doesn't matter. We can grow because we have the source of nourishment that we need. We have Christ, his presence, his body, his blood in this Eucharist and in every gathering of 2 or more.